So how to awaken your consciousness and keep it forever? It's a brilliant how-to question. So I'm going to explain this in the next 5 to 10 minutes by sharing with you first, which I share with all audiences, how would it be there's actually two of you in there? Yes, there's what I call the natural you, the real you. Sometimes I call it the green you. This would be you, fully conscious, fully awake is the term a lot of people use. And then there's the other you, what I call your earthly representative. This realistically is your ego. It's your egoic self, not the real you at all. So two things really to think about. There's the easy part, and then there's the more complicated part. So let's deal with the easy part first, because keeping it open forever is obviously something people would love to do. Now the easy part of this is interesting because there's a gland in the middle of your brain, which I always describe, just for a bit of fun and easy to explain, is a bit like a Pac-Man. If you remember, Pac-Man is like a little round ball with a little face on it and a little mouth. Now your consciousness, or your expanded consciousness, will see the Pac-Man have his mouth open very, very wide. But when we're less conscious, less expanded, his mouth is quite closed. Now, as we are born into this world, it actually is quite closed. And over your lifetime, it will start to open as you become just more aware, even if you're not in a great environment. If you put yourself in a great environment and put yourself out as to learn about this part of you and how to open this gland, then the good news is, and the simple bit is, that actually it's a one-way valve. So as it opens, it cannot close again. Okay, now that's an interesting thing to just go and learn a bit about yourself. As that gland opens, it cannot close. And that is an interesting experience, because the egoic you really would rather keep it closed. Because look, the egoic you wants to be in control of you. It's really not a baddie. I always go, it's not really a baddie. It's an interesting part of you that its job is to keep you safe. But it does it in a way that prevents you becoming more, awakening up or becoming more conscious. It does it by having you in a position where you don't live in the moment, yeah? Somebody that's fully awake lives completely in the moment. In other words, there is no past, there's no future, they just live literally in that moment. They see nothing else. And what's amazing, if you can do that, it's very experiential. People over the generations and eons have tried to share with people, the how to do that. And the truth is, it's an experience, and you've got to move towards it. You've got to try it on. And once you experience it, you'll find that in the green world, there's very few words to actually describe this experience. So it's also a journey, not a destination. We're not trying to achieve something. We are looking to have an experience of being in the moment, yeah? I'm going to recommend a film here, actually. I don't do that very often, but please do go watch The Peaceful Warrior. It's a very, very good film. Nick Nolte plays a character called Socrates, and Dan is his student. And in this film, he explains very, very well about this, what I call the green you, the awake you, the more expanded, more conscious you. So, good film to go and watch. It's a B movie, but very, very profound. Good to watch it with a notebook, make some notes. But in there, Socrates does a great job of sharing how, if there is a how, you become more aware of yourself and your consciousness sort of wakes up. Now, going back to the more difficult bit, the egoic you, your earthly representative, as I sometimes call it, this does not want you to awaken. It's doing everything it can to keep you locked into what effectively is a prison. It's like you're living in, think of a big bird cage, a nice gilded cage. It's like you're in a gilded cage and there's a door and you've got the key, but what the ego does is it says you don't want to go outside of that cage, because outside there you don't really know what's going to happen. If we stay in here, you're going to be safe. So it's a little bit like that, but look, a lot of people want to go and investigate what's outside. What you can't do is you can't become enlightened without going outside the cage. Now, there's a lot of people that will attempt to do this and they get very, very stuck. So you can't expand your consciousness whilst being in the gilded cage. You just can't. You can read a lot about it, you could intellectualize it, but you can't have the experience. You have to find a way to switch the egoic self off. And that's the bit that's not so easy, because it is doing everything it can to not let you do that. And it does it by comparing what's happened in your past and playing that into the future. So if you're a sort of person that goes into uncertainty a lot, just notice, if you notice how often you look for certainty before you take any action, that is your egoic self. And what it's doing is it's comparing things that have happened in the past to what it thinks. It plays forward and it makes pictures of what you think might happen. Now, these things haven't happened yet, but it will have you think they might happen. So if there looks like any danger in that, what it does is it prevents you taking that step and you stay stuck in the cage. So look, I said it's how do you keep it forever? Remember that you've got to do some learning, maybe some intellectual learning. You've got to be prepared to go outside of the cage. You've got to go where you've never been before, a bit Star Trek-y. You've got to step into the world of uncertainty. There's a great saying that says, I think it was Tony Robbins that said this, the quality of your life will be directly proportionate to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably live with. It's a great saying, yeah? Worth just jotting that down. That means that, look, if we could step into uncertainty, what happens when you step into uncertainty is there becomes a certainty, or if you do it from a place of the green place, I call it, all we have to do is say to ourselves, I know that inside of me, no matter what happens as I step into uncertainty, I know that I can deal with that. Whatever situation comes, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know I can deal with it. Now you're moving towards an awakening opportunity, yeah? Because we're not fearful of what's going to happen. Our inner world is saying to us, you know what, I can deal with whatever the world throws at me. I'm good with it. So throw what you like at me. I'm going to stay certain, I'm going to stay solid, I'm going to stay in the moment, yeah? And this is a way to get this little gland to start to open up. So look, I've given you a bit of an insight, bit of a how-to. The challenge is overcoming the ego. Do watch The Peaceful Warrior, the movie. There is a book as well, and see what you can learn from that intellectually, but be prepared to step outside of that cage into uncertainty, just knowing that without any doubt at all, whatever happens, you can handle it. So that's it from me, Tony Vee from the 1010 movement. If you've got any questions, pop them down below. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't already subscribed, please press the subscribe button and also hit the notification bells, because we do 2 videos a week, one with my amazing wife, Nikki Vee, and one by myself. So you will get notifications that we've released a new video about this sort of subject and how to move to living a more 10 out of 10 life experience. So that's it from me, Tony Vee. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.